Good afternoon, everyone. It's time now for the NWAC Men's Selection Show. The women have been drawn and revealed, and now it's time to check out the matchups in the first round of the NWAC 2018 Men's Basketball Tournament. I'm your host, Kirk Rowland. We're with the Executive Director of the NWAC, Marco Azurdia. Exciting times when we finally find out who the opponents are going to be.
Absolutely. They've been waiting for this, and now they can find out who it is, and now they can prepare.
Absolutely. Well, just talk a little bit about the draw and how this worked and how we got to this point.
So on Tuesday, our office held a drawing, and we drew the top number one seeds. The first number one seed is put at the 8 o'clock game. The second number one, 6 o'clock. Third number one at 10 o'clock, or excuse me, 2 o'clock, and then the fourth number one at 10 a.m. And then we drew the four seeds from each region, and then placed them accordingly. The first four that was drawn goes to the 8 o'clock game and on down the line. So we're excited to see where it ends up, and it should be a fun week, pretty exciting week of basketball.
Well, we had some great matchups in the women's selection show, and we anticipate we'll have some great ones in the first round at Everett. They'll be the host again this year. And of course, first up, it'll be the women's Sweet 16 and Elite 8 on Thursday and Friday, and then the men will take the court next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll take a few days. We'll have the Final Four in the championship rounds. So this is going to be fun. And we're going to check in with some of the coaches from the top seeds coming into the tournament here in our program. So stay tuned. This should be fun. And also, we'd like to give a shout out to Jim Jackson, who's watching the broadcast. Jim, the compliance director at the NWAC, and of course a great coach and AD in the NWAC. He's going through a battle right now. He's won most of the battles in his life, and he will this one. We're thinking about you, Jim. Thank you so much for being a part of it. All right, let's do this, shall we? Okay. First up, and it'll be the morning bracket games here right out of the chute, and our first seed is the South Puget Sound Clippers from Olympia, the number one seed in the West. And South Puget Sound has been a fun team to watch this year. 22-7 overall, 13-1 in the West, their second consecutive West championship. So Aaron Landon in his fifth season has certainly turned things around there. They are perennial now, and it's a formidable team.
You're absolutely right. Aaron's done a great job. Has turned that program upside down, and they are a tough team the last 3 years. So kudos to them.
Yeah, they've got some good players. A.J. Hodges, pretty good, over 17 points a game and 4 assists. So, and he also gets in there and rebounds a lot from that guard spot, so he's pretty good. And DeMonte Malloy, big kid, 13.5, 5 rebounds a game. They've had some good wins. They defeated Lower Columbia on their home floor, beat Everett, and so this will be a team that I think can win a couple of games and get deep, and who knows, go all the way. They will steal it from you. There's no you better not be careless against this Clipper team, and they are really heavily into the zone. They play that long zone out there, and so they don't put you to the line much, and so shooting at times, I mean, they can get hot for sure, but I don't think they're consistently one of the better shooting teams in the NWAC. But this is definitely a team that can beat you if you don't bring it.
Yeah, I think you highlighted both of their situations there or issues. The good defense, they do a good job of maximizing their players for that, and offensively, that'll be the key. Can they hit from the outside?
All right, well, they've got the 10 a.m. game. Let's see who the opponent will be for the Clippers. The Yakima Valley Yaks coming in. Yakima Valley, an interesting team out of the East there, the number 4 seed, but just shy of 20 wins this year. That shows the East, and that's a pretty good team. It's a rematch, because as you can see on the slide right there, back on December 30th, it was a 73-70 game, so that was very close. So we'll see. And they also came up with a big win over Walla Walla. So upset-minded team. And Jamon Boykin, over 21 points a game. Quentin Rayner, athletic, and he can dial it in from long distance.
Absolutely. And the East on the men's side, very tough, and battling North Idaho, battling Walla Walla. it was a real dogfight for Yakima to get in. So kudos to Coach Landon and the guys.
Yeah, so the Yakima Valley Yaks, and can they get stops? That's what it says on our question mark right there, and hey, we're going to find out. We're certainly going to find out. So Yakima Valley and South Puget Sound, our first matchup, the 10 a.m. matchup. So next up, who gets the breakfast matchup? Well, the Peninsula Pirates are going to get that breakfast matchup. Mitch Freeman in his 5th season as the head coach of the Peninsula Pirates, and he's got them into the NWAC tournament. He's got plenty of weapons. He's got Colby Jackson, Kalen Crane, Cameron Burton, all pretty good players, and they've had some good wins. They've defeated South Puget Sound and also beat a solid team from down in the south, Lynn Benton. This team plays defense, Marco. That's how you do it sometimes at the NWAC, and they're pretty good at it.
Well, you're right, and I think they have to in terms of because they struggle in their field goal attempts, but they rely on their defense to help get their offense going. So
this could be a very interesting matchup here. Which team can shoot the best in this game? We'll see, because who is the opponent of the Peninsula team? It is the Clackamas Cougars. Cliff Wegner's got another good ball club coming in here, 17-11 overall, 18-11, I believe, and they did play last night. And Cliff's got some big wins. He's defeated Walla Walla. Anytime you can beat the defending champs there, that's huge. Nigel Carr, over 20 points a game. He's a top 10 scorer in the NWAC. He's pretty good. And Isaiah Gentry is right there behind. So they've got 2 guys, and this team will shoot it. They're not shy. They're going to get out there and put it up, and Cliff likes to do that, and that's how you score. You got to shoot.
Absolutely, and I think one of the key points there is that they're second in offensive rebounds. If you're going to shoot, you got to be able to go after and get the ball, and I think that's a great key to their team.
Yeah, and don't be fast and loose with holding on to the basketball there, because they are second in the NWAC in stealing the basketball. So they will cause you to turn it over, and we'll see. So a lot of it will come down to the shooting in the tournament, and so that should be the sleepy eyeball game here right away as we open up our first quadrant here. So some good matchups: South Puget Sound and Yakima Valley, Peninsula and Clackamas. And at this time, we've got the head coach of the top seed, South Puget Sound Clippers, on the phone right now, Aaron Landon. Aaron, congratulations, a second consecutive league title.
Thanks, Kirk. Thanks, Marco. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can indeed. We can indeed. Well, first of all, you've seen your matchup now, the Yakima Valley Yaks, and this is a rematch. I know you guys are going to be fired up for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like the whole entire quadrant is just kind of like the Clackamas Holiday Invitational we were at. So familiar teams, and Yakima's really good, so we'll just try to put together a game plan and see what we can do.
All right. Well, Coach, again, Marco touched on it, the culture that you've turned around there. What's been the key, do you think?
Just people. I mean, it's nothing that I'm doing, I guess, recruiting, but you just put great people around each other. I've had wonderful assistant coaches, and our players are incredible. It's it's a different place for a lot of these guys who have moved in from out of the area. A lot of guys are willing to, sacrifice and buy into a role on a winning team, and I love our players, and it's just a really special group. So would love to spend a few more weeks together.
All right. Well, you've kind of sold it on that zone defense, and I know it's about defense. Is that your philosophy, or do you just run that because of the personnel you have?
I mean, we just run it because we like it. Some nights it works real well. Some nights it doesn't work at all. It's not built around this team. It's something that we've done from day one. And just like anything else that you do in basketball, you get a bunch of really good players, and somehow the system looks good. So it's not the zone that makes us good. It's our players 100%. And they're what makes our defense really good. I think we lead the NWAC in point-per-game defense. And if we were running some other system, I'm sure our players would be good in that too. We just got good players.
Hey, you're smart enough to run what works. That's good. You don't want to change that for sure. Marco, you got a question for Coach?
Aaron, if what would be 2 or 3 keys that you guys really want to have honed in coming into the tournament?
2 or 3 things. Probably defensively, just kind of inserting the scout into our game plan. All teams, whether you play man or zone, you've got to adjust team to team. And so studying Yakima is going to be a big thing for us this week, and it's good that we've seen them before. We can really look at, what we did right and then what we did wrong at the end of that game. And then the other thing is just going to be, how disciplined are we on offense? You guys and everybody else always reminds us that we got some trouble shooting, so that's all right. We'll just have to be really, really sharp in terms of execution, and you never know. I mean, there's a chance we could get lucky and hit some shots, and then we might be really good.
I saw A.J. Hodges hit 6 of 8 threes and score 30 on my team, so it can happen for sure. Coach, congratulations. Way to go, and hey, we will see you for that morning ball game coming up next Saturday.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
You betcha. That's Aaron Landon, the head coach of the South Puget Sound Clippers. So what do you think of that first quadrant there, Marco?
I think it's going to be some pretty good matchups. Interesting that they, as Aaron mentioned, they all were part of a tournament, so they're all a little familiar with each other, either by playing or by scouting each other. So it'll be interesting how that plays out.
Yeah, and we'll get a look at who's come the farthest since the Christmas, because that's always a key. A lot of times your clubs, nothing like it was back in Christmas, takes time to gel, and all these 4 teams have certainly advanced, and they're into the tournament. Okay, so let's go and move on to our next quadrant, and this will be the lunchtime bracket here, the noon and the 2 o'clock games there in Everett. And our top seed, the defending champs, the Walla Walla Warriors, will play at 2 p.m. Jeff Rhineland's got them back, and they're doing Rhineland things again. They're shooting threes, and they're making a ton of them. Landon Ratliff, they had those great triumvirate of guards, but now Ratliff's kind of the guy now, averaging over 21 points a game, but it's not just him. Marcus McCone is another good player, and Brandon Porter, Damon Thacker, I mean, they just, Ratliff's is really good. He's second in the NWAC in scoring. He's got like over 600 points this year, so he's got the license, the Jeff Rhineland license, to kind of be the guy out there.
Absolutely. They do a great job. 3 or 4 guys on the perimeter who can score. Jeff has always done a great job of getting great shots for his guards, and these guys are unconscious. They don't fear anybody, and I think coming back, the defending champion, Jeff's done a good job of getting them focused that last year was last year. This is a new group, and let's get after it. I've seen them play 3 or 4 times this year, and they are not afraid to pull up from anywhere and let it rip.
Absolutely. But the thing about Walla Walla, don't just think it's a team that's not going to try to stop you a little bit. They're a top 5 team in defense, so they put a lot of time in that also.
That gets overlooked because the offense is flashy.
Yeah. So, you get to this tournament and you start shooting those threes, and if you make them, you're a champion, and if you miss a bunch of them, you're not. Coach has been there, done that. He's seen it all, and I know it's going to be a different dynamic with the championship thing lifted now. He's going to have a great time, and he's not going to worry about any of that. He's the defending champ, great coach, and Walla Walla is going to be formidable again, and I don't think anybody would be surprised if the Warriors weren't back playing in a couple of weeks in that championship game. So who are the Warriors going to play? Let's find out. The Centralia Trailblazers. How about the T-Blazers? They have made it to the tournament now. Great to see that. Coach Moore, he just hung in there with this team. And, the West, I don't think was real deep this year, but I'm telling you what, this Centralia team was in a lot of games this year, and they come in with a sub-500 record. But you ask some of the teams in the West, and they'll tell you that's a tough win to get. And they won enough out of the division to get to the tournament.
Well, and I think, you look at the highlights. They protect the basket. They have 3 blocks a game. And then getting to the free throw line, I think sometimes that gets overlooked now because it's such a 3-point offensive structure for people. But getting to the foul line is crucial in big games.
Yeah, Austin Curry's a really good player. He averages over 17 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, so he's unselfish. And Marcus Gilson is really athletic also, over 19 or just under 20 points a game with 8 rebounds. So Coach Moore's got 2 really good players there that can go, and this is a team, they've just got to be able to score enough. And just under 80 points a game, that's something that they're going to need to do to pull off an upset or 2. That's going to be a tough one against Walla Walla. So Centralia and Walla Walla at 2 in the afternoon coming up on Saturday. Also on the East Quadrant, the noon game. It's the Lynn Benton Roadrunners out of the South. And Marco, this is a team that has, South was so balanced this year. I mean, it was tough to go on a roll. Over 20 wins, 21 and 9, I guess. And Taylor Jensen and Bailey Evers are just solid players that are going to give you around a double-double every night. And they've got some good wins. They defeated South Puget Sound, and they did knock off the top seed Portland. So don't sleep on the Roadrunners.
No, they've done a good job. And once again, getting to the foul line, they get there a lot, and that really helps, I think, their program and their style of play, that they want to get to the line and get things going. So once again, Lynn Benton beating Portland, that's a big win. So I don't think anybody needs to sleep on Lynn Benton.
Yeah, not only a big win, 82-63. Sure. That was one of the rare hiccups that the Panthers had this year. So look out for Lynn Benton. They got to keep care of the ball a little bit better, but coming into the tournament, I know they've got some confidence. Who are they going to play? Well, they're going to play the Edmonds Tritons from the north. The high-flying Edmonds Tritons. Zach Walton is their top player, and this guy's a highlight reel. He is really good. He's a guy that can go out there and dunk it in your face, averages 21 points a game, top 10 score, 9 rebounds, and was really good from long distance also. He's a fun one to watch, Zach Walton. Lauren Lacassie, also another solid player for them. And, this Tritons team, they beat Walla Walla. So there again, I think it's a team that maybe wasn't as consistent as they liked, but they can beat you, and they can beat you bad.
Yeah, from all indications and people that we talked to throughout the year, they are really athletic, really good, but it's been an issue of being consistent. And you beat Walla Walla by 35, you can put the ball in the hoop. And you look at their rebounding, they are very athletic and get after it. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this team could pose some problems to people because they are really good.
Yeah, a lot of times when you come tournament time, things kind of grind down a little bit, and so that's going to be a question mark with this team. Are they going to be able to get enough stops? Because we know they're going to score. This is a team that's going to score. Can they get enough stops to get themselves deep into the tournament? And so there you go. We've got the Edmonds Tritons and Lynn Benton Roadrunners, Centralia and Walla Walla, and that's an interesting bracket, to say the least. And do we have the head coach? Do we have the defending champion, the man, Rhino, Jeff Ryland, on the phone with us right now? And Coach, I guess you're going to get a chance to defend the title.
Well, Kirk, we are, and it's always good to talk to you two boys, and just glad we have an opportunity to do it. Going into the season, we lost we lost every single scrimmage we had, so we had a lot of apprehension, but we were able to get it going and get ourselves back there, so it should be fun.
All right, well, you lost those really good guards from last year. They took you to the title. You got your first, but I guess Radcliffe is your headliner now, isn't he?
Yeah, Landon's had a great year. We've had to change his role on the team. Last year he was more of a distributor to those other guys, and then this year, he's our main scorer. So getting a lot of help, though, from Damon and Brandon Porter. And, our inside guys are tough and playing pretty hard-nosed defense this year. So, Landon's been a major part of it, but it's been a total team effort for sure.
All right, Marco?
Jeff, you and I got together, I think it was August, and when we were talking, you said you really wanted to make sure that these guys didn't live in the past, didn't look in the rearview mirror. Can you talk a little bit about how, from day one, you were focusing and wanted to get this team focused on what's going to happen in the future?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's kind of a joke between you and I. When you first came to Walla Walla, I told you to take that NWAC trophy and take it back home with you because I didn't want the guys in my office gawking at it, you know. And the last thing I wanted was for us to be looking back on last year. I wanted this team to focus on this year. And, you know, with the exception of just a few players, these are all new guys. So, you know, when people say, well, we're defending our title, that's true. I guess our school is, but it's actually a completely different basketball team. So, yeah, I just wanted them to focus on what was ahead and not be looking back. So,
well, Jeff, there's coaches, 16 coaches that all want to know what it's like to win a title. And I know you got to that point and just it never happened until last year. How does it change? Does it change your, I mean, is that pressure off, or are you just no nonsense saying, hey, man, it doesn't matter, we're going to go and fight?
Yeah, I don't even think about it. You know, I mean, it's one of those things. I never thought that a team that I would ever coach would ever accomplish that. So, you know, I felt really good about being able to do it. But as far as me thinking about it, I don't really think about it that much. You know, gave my rings to my kids, so I don't really think about it all that much. I mean, it's just something that I'm glad it happened, but I'm really excited to see what, you know, this team here can do and see if we can get something done over there.
Well, if you know Coach Reinland, it's about the next practice, the next play we're going to run, the next stop we're going to have, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a pretty good approach, and that's why I feel that you guys will have another shot to go back-to-back. Coach, thank you so much for your time, and look forward to seeing you next weekend in Everett.
Okay, thanks, guys. See you later.
All right. Bye. That's Jeff Reinland, the head coach of the defending champion Walla Walla Warriors. And I know that sounds really good. And guess what? Unless you do it again, it's done for a year. So.
And Jeff's one of the great guys who's done it the right way. He doesn't compromise on principles, and the kids really play hard for him because they respect him.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that exciting fan base of Walla Walla is fired up, and it'll be Centralia going against the Warriors. So what do you think? There's our first half. We're halfway done in our bracket here. And as Marco, as you look at those matchups in the first round, what kind of jumps out at you?
In the top bracket, I really think the 1 and 4 matchup is going to be real interesting with South Puget Sound and Yakima. And then the 2-3 matchup with Edmonds and Lynn Benton. Those, to me, are going to be pretty interesting games.
Yep, I agree. All right, we're halfway through it. Let's move on in our NWAC selection show. And this will be the 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock quadrant this next Saturday. And the Portland Panthers, the top seed in the South, will play the, right there, the prime time, I guess, the 6 o'clock matchup that they drew earlier for this. And this is a really good team. Boy, Tony Broadous has done a great job at Portland. He's in his 6th season. Of course, he knows what it's like. Won the title in 2014. And, you know, they're playing some defense. I'm telling you, they've got some athletic kids like Gabe Garrett and Cameron Rutherford, but, you know, hey, playing D, that's the way you do it. And they kind of do it with their quickness. Steals, blocks, and just getting stops, getting in a stance.
No, they get after you. No possession's going to be easy against them, and they just do a great job. As you mentioned, Coach Broadous is just, he's done remarkable things there at Portland CC.
All right. Sometimes they'll put you on the free throw line, so you better get to the line and practice up there. But 12-3 in the South, that's impressive. And, you know, they've had a couple of toe stubbers, but, you know, when you can bounce back after you know, a loss like that and come back, that's impressive. So Coach Broadous has got the Panthers in as the #1 seed. So let's see who Portland will play in that 6 o'clock game. It'll be the Bellevue Bulldogs as the Bellevue team comes in out of the North, an 18-11 overall record. 500 in the North, but there's some good teams in the North, and you know, if you can get it at 500 and get one of those draws out of that 4th seed, you got a shot. You know, Jonathan Michael and Jaden Ballman, good players, really good players for this team. What do you think? They won at Edmonds. That's good, and but they just played deep. Just a really solid team.
Yeah, and they've struggled, as you see, being home and on the road in terms of winning and losing. I think Coach Brady, He's with Shoreline last year, took them to the tournament, and now has Bellevue in the tournament as well. And so it'll be interesting to see, as they struggled offensively down the stretch here, if they can get back the mojo kind of that they had offensively early in the year.
Yeah, Coach Brady's trying to get it back. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 games, so certainly scuffling right now, but as we mentioned earlier, hey, 1 win, 4 upsetting 1 game can recapture that mojo, as you mentioned, and get them in there. So the Bellevue Bulldogs will be taking on the Portland Panthers in the 4-1 out of that South Quadrant at 6 o'clock next Saturday. So on the other side of that one, the Spokane Sasquatch is next up, the number 2 seed out of the East. Spokane has got a really, one of my favorite players in the NWAC. That's Cesar Sandoval. This guy is so big and so skilled. I mean, I just love this guy's game. 19.5 points per ball game. And if it's in his hands, he's probably going to score. He darn near shoots at 60%, and he'll rebound it for you. But there's just so many other really athletic guys. Cameron Gay's awfully good, but Derek Pacudas and Harris, Gotel, Pillamai, Alexander. A lot of players Coach Groth has to work with in this team, and just a year removed from winning the title. I don't know. I think this is a team that can surprise a lot of folks.
Yeah, you mentioned Sandoval. I don't think he ever takes a bad shot. He's always on balance. He's got great footwork, and Coach Groth, they do a great job there. Another coach that does it the right way, and I think they're pretty diverse in terms of, I think, the things they do offensively and defensively that I think they're going to cause some people a lot of problems.
Yeah, they are a top 10 team in darn near every offensive category in the NWAC. So I guess the question now is the defense going to be enough? Because they do give up some pretty good looks to the opponents there, as you can see, 30th in the opponent shooting at 46%. So that might be a little question mark in there, but well, it's a good team.
Yep.
I like the Spokane Sasquatch. So who will the Sasquatch play at that 4 o'clock game? It'll be the Tacoma Titans out of the West. TJ Call's got Tacoma back to the tournament as they went 9-5 in the West, a sub-500 team, but a very dangerous team. This is a team that's got length. They will block it. Your take better be really good coming in there, because they will block your shot. They're 4th in the NWAC blocking shots, and just a lot of weapons for Coach Call's team. Dayton Pasqua is pretty solid, and Quentin Bethea also a very solid player. And I don't think they have great signature wins, but they've had some good wins in the division. And I just think this is a team that coming off the great success last year, and now they're back, and they want to continue to develop this program and do well.
Yeah, and they have 5 guys averaging over 11 points a game, so the ball is getting spread out. No one guy is the guy, but they've got 5 guys who can make some damage. So, and coming back, 2 years in a row, TJ's done a great job of getting that program on the right track.
That's right. So the Tacoma Titans out of the West, and we'll see who they're going to be going up against. Of course, Spokane. So there we go. It's the evening quadrants. The 4 o'clock Tacoma and Spokane, 6 o'clock Bellevue and Portland. And let's talk a little Portland. Little Portland Panthers. We've got the head coach of the Panthers, Tony Broadous, with us. And Coach, congratulations on winning the South this year.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes, we can. Loud and clear, Coach.
Okay.
And, just talk about your team a little bit. Are you surprised that you won the division this year, or was that the goal all along and you knew you had the guys to do it?
Yeah, that was the goal all along. We knew we had some good pieces, and we felt like we were going to have a great opportunity if we stayed healthy and guys took care of business in the classroom. We felt like we would have a great chance, and things worked out. Guys worked hard, learned to play together real well, and were able to battle through a tough southern region.
Yeah, for sure. That wasn't decided until yesterday, the final day there. And just talk a little bit about the South this year and how it was to get through that.
Well, it's always tough, and it's interesting because Portland had never won the conference outright ever since the school came in existence of basketball in 1958, we were told. So that shows you it's been tough, but we had a group of young men who set a goal to do it, to not share it, because our championship team in the past they took first, but they tied with 2 other teams in the conference. So this year we said, no, we're not doing that, and the guys were willing to work hard and put in an extra effort to make sure that they could reach their goal, which was to get that conference title. But that's not it. We're looking for much bigger things, and we're excited as we head into the NWAC tournament.
Yeah, Coach don't want to share anymore. One of the rare guys who won a conference championship outright before he won a divisional championship outright. Marco, you got something to say for Coach?
Yeah, Coach Broadous, can you talk a little bit about the culture there? When you came in, you've changed the culture. You mentioned your championship a couple years back, and now you guys have continued to just be a good program. Talk a little bit about how the culture has changed there, not only there for the young men in the athletic department, but also for the community in which you guys serve.
Marco, I'm having trouble hearing the question.
Okay. The question, Tony, was simply culture. What have you done to change that culture there at Portland in these last 5 years?
Well, that's a good question. It first started by bringing in a great staff, Coach Bell, Coach White, Coach West, just bringing in guys who knew the area and who were big-time players in their own right and who knew how to work with young people. And then we just started recruiting guys that we knew we could play, and we focused in on the PIL and trying to make sure the guys that are right here in our backyard could come here and feel comfortable coming here and get some good success. And then we were able to branch out and add some guys like a Brendan Richard from Centennial, like a Blaine Josie from Liberty, and get some other guys to come in and just continue to get better. We have a lot of good open gyms in the summer where our guys are going competitively against other real good players, and I think all that kind of factors into us building this program and getting it to where it's at.
What do you think your matchup against Bellevue? What are you thinking there?
Well, Bellevue, it's a big-time program that's had success for years, so we'll respect them to the fullest. Didn't get a chance to play them this year or see them, but we will definitely spend our time researching them. And there is a Portland kid on there, Trey Nelson, that we're looking forward to matching up against. But it's a good matchup. We like it.
All right, outstanding. Well, Coach Broadous, congratulations on your South Region title by yourself. And we look forward to seeing you, Everett, coming up next weekend.
All right, appreciate being on. Let's go, Panthers.
All right, there we go. It's the kind of spirit we like here in the NWAC selection show. So the Portland Panthers and Bellevue, Tacoma, and Spokane in that one-quarter quadrant. All right. Well, most of you, coach, I know the coaches already know this. There's no surprise on these. We've got 4 left, and of course, it's the 1-4s and 2-3s. So let's go to the final one, and this will be the late night bracket, the 8 and 10 o'clock games, and it'll be the home team, the Everett Trojans, that'll be playing at 8 o'clock. And this Everett team, do they have the ball club that can do it on their home floor? I think they do. This is a very, very athletic team. It seemed like they were winning the NWAC Player of the Week every week for a while there because they have such good players there. Geo Jackson, Markeith Brown, don't forget Connor Moppet. This is a really good team, and of course they'll have the home court advantage.
Yeah, they do a really good job, like you said, real athletic, but the things that stand out to me, they get to the foul line, and they get after it on a defensive end in terms of rebounding. So those are important things. Can they handle keeping their turnovers down? And, you mentioned it's the home court, but that also works in other ways too. There's a little more pressure now.
Right.
And so we'll see how they handle it. Coach Trautman's done a great job since he's gotten there, and this should be an exciting team to watch.
Yeah, a couple of quality wins there. Defeated North Idaho, and we had a chance to see them here at Lower Columbia during the Red Devil Classic, and it's a special team. They're pretty good. I mean, hey, 13-1 and in the North, and That's pretty good. 25-4 overall. So Coach Trautman, he's got to be excited. He's playing at home, and he's got a team that can get the job done. So the Everett team, who they're going to go against, the 8 o'clock game, it will be the Chemeketa Storm. We didn't know about Chemeketa until just late last night, and so here we go out of the South. This could be a good matchup here. 8-7 in that tough South. We heard Coach Broadous talk a little bit about how it is tough to get through there, but they've got some good players out there. Jack Frazier, over 14 a game. Stefan Zabadovsky, he's just kind of a solid guy and does a lot of things for the Chemeketa team. Coach Abderhalden. So I've seen them. They defeated Lower Columbia. They beat Portland. There you go. That was an overtime thriller earlier this year. So, they can score. They can score. It says right there, getting buckets. And, they've gotten a lot of them this year.
Yeah, I saw them play last night against Clackamas, and boy, they get after it. I like their defense in terms of blocking shots. They do a great job. Coach Abderhalden, every year, Chemeketa, they're always in the hunt, and that's because David just does a great job.
Sports Information Assistant Spencer Rowland, I like him. He's having fun. Great Wall of Chemeketa. So bring it in. Make sure that take comes in hot because they'll block the shots on you. And a little concern, free throws. A lot of times these tournament games come down to free throws, and so I'm sure Coach has got them working on that a little bit. But, they're in, and that's all you need is a license to get in. So Everett and Chemeketa, the 8 o'clock game. And so that's going to be a great prime. Now, certainly the way the draw worked out, that was good to have an 8 o'clock game of the home team at the tournament, for sure. All right, let's move on now. We'll go. The Lower Columbia College Red Devils, they get the 10 p.m. game, but they don't have their head coach, Jim Roffler, who would probably just complain that, I'd rather play at 8 in the morning so I don't have to stew over it a little bit. It's been a big year at LCC under new direction. Coach Roffler retired this year after just a legendary career at LCC, and Mickey Polis has taken over the ball club, and he had just two starters back from that Final Four team that Coach Roffler had last year, but they're really good players, and that's Spencer Sweet and Brandon Cotton. Sweet, great three-point shooter. He's got some hops, and Brandon Cotton's just turned into be a great point guard for this LCC team, but they've got a lot of guys that they can go, but not a lot of experience. They did beat South Puget Sound, the West champ, and it was a tough win at Tacoma. But this Coach Polis does have a 10-man rotation. He's got a lot of guys he can call on, and so they're hoping they can come through. The question mark: can they get perimeter help out there? A lot of teams are getting open looks from outside there, so something to work. The Red Devils have been to this tournament more than anyone, the 38th appearance in the NWAC championship tournament. I think that's like 8 more than the next team. So they put that in their budget. And they've got the 10 o'clock game, and they're going to go up against the North Idaho Cardinals this season. Another solid team back at the NWAC tournament. And Raekwon Evans averaging 21 points a game, Marco, 8th in the NWAC. He's pretty good. And Tyler Brimhall, another player. This is a team that really lives in the paint. They are a team that is going to try to pound it in there, and a great rebounding team.
Absolutely. I saw them last week, and they did a great job in the paint. It's gang rebounding. Every ball is theirs. They attack. And if you're not boxing them out, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, Coach Simons has done a good job kind of getting that in-the-paint mentality there. And maybe one concern you might have with North Idaho is if they fall behind, do they have the firepower to catch up? But, I think they're just going to try to pound it on you, get it down low there, and just dominate you on the glass. And it's a team that can definitely that. They've had some big wins. They've defeated Everett before. They had a tough victory over Spokane, and I just think this North Idaho team, they might come over. Last year they were kind of one of the teams that everybody was looking at as a favorite. Well, I think this year they come in as maybe a sleeper. It'll be a tough matchup for the Lower Columbia team with North Idaho coming in here to complete the bracket. So there you go. We've got the final quadrant put together, the late night game, Lower Columbia against North Idaho. So there's the bracket, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hook up with the head coach. I know Allie is working hard on that. Do we have? Oh, we do. Look at this, right under the gun. Coach Trautman, congratulations on a great job this year. I mean, pretty special, this bunch.
Yeah, this group is a great group to have. They're fun to coach, and we had a really fun year and special group.
All right. Well, we were talking a little bit about playing on the home court. Good or bad?
Well, it's good. I mean, I think it's good for us. It's something that we love to have a big crowd. I think we're going to get quite a few people here, especially during the primetime game. So I think you're going to see quite a few butts in the seats, and that's always a good thing for our tournament in general. So I'm excited for it.
Well, Coach, Mark Keith and Gio and Connor, and not just them, but just the talent that you've had out there this year. I mean, that just had to be a joy to coach.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are winners. So, you know, if you look at a lot of our players, their high school careers and their high school teams and programs that they played on, they all came from programs that won 20, 22, you know, finishing second, third, fourth in state, those kind of kids. And so that was part of our recruiting strategy, was to get winners in here. And it's worked out really well. They really like each other. They're all business and practice, and they get along really well off the floor. And they love each other as brothers. And so it's been fun.
Well, you got a pretty tough four coming, Chemeketa. What do you think about that matchup?
I have not seen Chemeketa one time this year at all, so I'm looking forward to watching some film tonight, tomorrow, and our staff will get on that soon. But I know in the past that they're always a fast-paced team, and they like to shoot the ball a little bit and get up and down, which is okay with us because we like to do the same thing. And so I think that'll probably be a high-scoring game, and it'll be a lot of fun.
All right. Marco?
Coach, in terms of getting prepared for the tournament, what are some of the things that you're focusing on with your players on the mental side of the preparation?
Just all, you know, just business, just playing basketball and defensively, and just getting everything situated we want to do. We need to shoot the ball well to play well, and so we're going to shoot the ball a lot this week. And we'll get a couple of good practices on our home floor, which will be nice, and early in the week here. And just getting the ball in the hoop, that's going to be a key for us.
All right, and of course, Garrett Studer, the AD there now. Last year he was the working for the NWAC. Now he's your AD, and what do you think? Are you guys generating some excitement with your men's and women's team both in the tournament?
Oh yeah. We have a nice little viewing party here tonight. We got a room full of the men's and women's program. All the coaches and players are here. We're eating pizza and having a good time. And Garrett's definitely brought a lot of that energy to our building and to our programs, and so. We are very excited to have him here, and he's done a great job so far. We have a lot of things that are new coming to our program, as well as, with marketing and some science and that kind of thing. And so good stuff happening here in Trojan land for sure.
All right. Well, Trojans, hope you're having a good pizza party out there, and things are going well for you. And, Coach, we look forward to seeing you next weekend.
All right, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it, and go Trojans.
All right. That's Mike Trautman, the head coach of the Everett Trojans. So there we go. The bracket is set for the NWAC 2018 Men's Basketball Championships. And Marco, as you look at that, I'll tell you what I see. What I see is top to bottom, there's obviously some favorites with these ones, but I think as opposed to the women where we have two clear teams, I think maybe, I don't know, this is wide open.
No, I totally agree with you. That's what makes the men's basketball tournament so exciting, because there are probably 5 or 6 teams that could win it, that you could legitimately say they've got a great shot. So it just depends on matchups. It depends who plays well on what day, and this will be an exciting tournament.
Yeah, if you go off chalk, you would have Walla Walla and Lynn Benton and South Puget Sound, maybe Peninsula, and going further on that, maybe if you go all the way with the 1 seed, South Puget Sound, Walla Walla, Portland, and Everett, all really formidable teams. But somewhere in there, there's going to be an upset or 2 or 3 or 4.
And what's so great about this, is it's one and done. So you've got to bring it every night. You've got to be prepared, and it should be a fun tournament.
All right. Well, Marco, I know sponsors are huge in the NWAC, and especially when you're putting on tournaments like this. And, of course, we've got some great ones like the folks at Under Armour and others.
Absolutely. Under Armour's been great to us. The Washington National Guard, Baden Sports, the Snohomish Sports Commission up there in Everett. And so we're real excited to be partnering with these people. And, our kids are the ones that really benefit from these partnerships.
Absolutely. Well, it's all about making it a great experience and big time, and we're hoping the Everett folks will come out there and support this tournament, get some big crowds, not only for their team, but for all of this great basketball that will be going on from 8 in the morning until about midnight, the NWAC Championship Tournament. It is always fun. And remember, it will be next Saturday, the Sweet 16 Elite 8 Saturday and Sunday, and then, of course, the following week we'll be down to the Final Four in the championships. This is a great time. Love it, NWAC basketball. Would like to thank the folks that put this all together. Justin Ford, our producer and director here today. Thanks to the NWAC staff, Tracy Swisher and Spencer Rowland out of the Sports Information. And, of course, Allie Krause, thank you very much for putting everything together. And thanks to you fans. Hope you players out there are ready. Be safe. Get in the gym. Guys, coaches, get in the film room because we've got our matchup set. It's going to be a great tournament next weekend. For Marco Azurdia, this is Kirk Rowland. Hope you enjoyed our NWAC selection show. We'll see you next weekend in Everett.